안녕하세요. 매일매일 운동하기를 실천하고 있는 동탄 왕코입니다. 왜 이렇게 피곤한지 모르겠어요. 오늘도 늦잠을 잤습니다. 원래 9시에 일어났는데 10시 넘어서 일어났어요. 오늘도 하늘은 되게 좋습니다. 하지만 날씨가 엄청 춥죠. 아침 온도가 영하 16도. 코로나는 880명 정도고, 코스피는 살짝 떨어지고 있고. 운동하겠습니다. 오늘은 화요일이네요. 똑같이 스트레칭 조금 하고 팔굽혀펴기 하고 끝내겠습니다. 역시 운동할 땐 CNN이죠. CNN.
In Hong Kong, and this is CNN.
Thank you for watching. It's time for the big show. CNN Tonight with its big star,
You're
Dylan.
darn right. You are right on. Big star. Look, I put this on. It's gray, but it looks black and white on TV. And I said, Chris is going to say I'm stealing his black and white style. But look how I did it with class.
I am the absence of style. That's why you benefit so greatly from these side-by-side shots.
I gotta tell you something. So I see Chris in our town this weekend. I didn't know it was him, this guy in the truck. And Tim and I are driving by in the car, and I said, who is this guy staring at us, this weirdo? And then we get closer, and we're like, is that Chris? And it was you. You were creeping us out, man. What's going on?
First of all, I don't know that's how it went.
That's how it went down.
Cha-Cha wanted
Ice cream.
Buddha-berry, which is our local place. So I didn't want to go in there. I was smoking a cigar. So I'm sitting in the back of the truck with the dogs.
Yeah, I noticed.
And the little dog, I have these two big dogs, and the little dog is a menace. Little dog jumps right out of the back of the truck.
It's always the case.
So I had to deal with that.
Yeah.
And then I saw you coming in that Clark Griswold mobile with that cockeyed wreath on the front of it.
Everybody loves that
And
car.
you had some hat on. You had like a fedora on.
Yeah, I did. I like to see. I was hiding. I like to be incognito.
Did you just say incognito?
I did. And then, but you are out there like on the back of your truck or whatever. So we're two totally different people. But let me just tell you. I was happy to see you. I'm so. It's a very weird time right now. I told you it's a very weird time. Like I'm up and then I'm down. I think most people are feeling the same way. I'm happy about a lot of things, and then I'm like, but a lot of people have died, and we still have this COVID thing out there. And I thought about why am I feeling this way? And I was watching TV today, and it's like, well, it's great, we've got a vaccine. I'm like, yeah. Or it's great, we have some more sanity back in DC. And then the other guy won't go away, or the vaccine is still the pandemic is still killing, the virus is still killing, thousands of people every day. So it's just we're in this weird sort of tug of war with like, should we be happy about some things? I'm definitely grateful, but then I'm also down. So I think I'm feeling the way many, many people are feeling right now. I'm not sure about you.
I think you're right. And I think that the way to do it is day by day. A lot of cliches have purpose. You know, and sometimes you got to take the grace when it comes. This vaccine should have never come as fast as it did. That's why we need time tonight to talk to a scientist. We don't do that a lot. But Kiriko, and she was right. I mean, a lot of scientists, science builds on science. She deserves to be singled out tonight, especially for all the hardship she went through as a woman.
현타가 옵니다, 여러분. 현타가 오지만 극복해야 돼. 극복해야 돼. 조금이라도 하자.
Yeah. The death rate is also amazing.
Amazing.
And we have to hope that one leads to a better recognition, and it all has to be woven together. And that's our hope, is that A plus B equals a C, which is you got your vaccine, but you got the right messaging now. And you and I don't need 30 graphs to prove to people that there's a pandemic anymore.
Right.
And that the cases are real, and that you need to do certain things, because someone's going to be talking about it on a regular basis, and their people are going to be allowed to talk to us, even when the guy on top says something wrong, which will happen. And most importantly,
and we'll call him out on it.
That's right. And most importantly, we won't be fighting ourselves the same way. I mean, not if he's smart. I mean, I've known Joe Biden a long time, the president-elect. If he decides to go that way, well, he's asking for what comes if you go that way.
Yeah, and listen, we've already criticized some things about, you know, people are saying, well, why are, you know, people are talking about how he's crafting or putting together his administration. But the disagreements or the constructive criticism or whatever the discussion has been about policy, not whether there is a grievance somewhere, or this is fake news, or this is not. It hasn't been that. It's a return to, as we said, normalcy and sanity.
Right.
But you're right. Listen, I got to run.
But you know our life, brother. This is the life we chose, man. Our life is constantly a contradiction and plus and minus.
Let me tell you what someone said to me. Someone who is, who I really respect and has been a mentor.
Me?
Who's done this. I said I really respect.
Oh, sorry.
So, who said just because you're on television, just because people think that you have a position of privilege, it does not, that should not rob you of your humanity. People try to rob you of what it is to be human just because of those things. But it shouldn't do that, because we are human, just as human, and we feel things just as much, and sometimes even more, because we're so close to it. And think about what we have come through over the past 5 years, all the attacks and all that. So I'm grateful for the position that I'm in and the platform that I have, but I feel like everybody else, and I'm feeling it. So
You should. It'd be weird if you didn't.
It'd be weird if you didn't.
I love you. Keep feeling, brother.
Yeah,
Keep feeling.
I'm going to say who it is. I want to say who it is. Can I tell you? I should say that. You may not want me to.
Tell just me.
Okay, it was Bernie Shaw.
Who?
Bernie Shaw called me.
The
last
man.
night. Love him so much. Bernie, I love you so much. I needed last night's thank you. It was divine intervention. That
Did he tell you? You're no Bernie Shaw, dog.
I am no Bernie Shaw. Trust me at all. But he called me up and just to check on me, and he's great. So I love you, Bernie. Yeah.
And I love him for doing it, because you're my man.
Thank you, sir. I love you too. I gotta run.
Make your witness.
Thank you. This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. So I really mean that, guys. I'm not lying. I feel it. Going through ups and downs. You know, exciting. You know, I feel good, and then I get depressed, and then I come out of it. I think we're all going through that. So it's going to be okay. It has been a tough year. And if you're someone who believes in science and reality, Chris was just talking about the scientists, right? Speaking to the scientists. If you believe in science and reality, you know, it's been a tough year. And then there's today. The Electoral College showing our fair and free election in action on live TV. Guess what? That was a real life, real-time fact check for the country and for the world to see. And science getting vaccines, you know, into American arms across the country, that's what's happening right now. Despite all the misinformation on the virus that has killed more than 300,000 Americans, and despite the president's efforts to overthrow our election, science and reality win today. It played out in front of our very eyes. The president-elect Joe Biden making his new victory speech tonight, again.
Together, Vice President-elect Harris and I earned 306 electoral votes, well exceeding the 270 electoral votes needed to secure victory. 306 electoral votes is the same number of electoral votes that Donald Trump and Vice President Pence received when they won in 2016. Excuse me. At the time, President Trump called the Electoral College tally a landslide. By his own standards, these numbers represented a clear victory then, and I respectfully suggest they do so now.
You know, he's right. He won. He won a clear victory. It's funny, though, that the current president doesn't see it that way, even though he won by the exact same margin and called it a landslide. I'm talking about the Electoral College, because he didn't win with a popular vote. Joe Biden hasn't beat in that. President-elect Joe Biden, excuse me, hasn't beat when it comes to that. He won in a landslide, and he won over and over and over.
We did actually well in almost all of the states, but we had a tremendous landslide electoral college victory, like people haven't seen in a long time, and it's a great honor. We had an electoral college, as you know, Congressman, we had a landslide, 306 to 223. We had a landslide. Well, you know what it is, really? It's a crooked deal. This is like the fake dossier. This is like everything else. These are crooked people. They lost an election, and they lost it big. It was really a landslide from the Electoral College standpoint.
We had a massive landslide victory, as you know, in the Electoral College. I guess the final numbers are now at 306, and she, down to a very low number.
Well, if he wants to call it a landslide for him, he's got to call it a landslide for Joe Biden. Just imagine the scene in the joint session of Congress on January 6th when the Electoral College vote is set to be formally confirmed. Actually, the president-elect doesn't have to imagine it.
4 years ago, when I was the sitting vice president of the United States, it was my responsibility to announce the tally of the Electoral College votes in the joint session of Congress that voted to elect Donald Trump. I did my job.
Remember this from January 2017?
Donald Trump of New York has received, for President of the United States, 300
아이고야.
votes. Hillary Clinton, the state of New York, has received 227 votes. This announcement of the state of the vote by the President of the Senate shall be deemed sufficient declaration of the persons elected President and Vice President of the United States, each for a term beginning on the 20th day of January 2017.
Joe Biden did his job almost 4 years ago. Now his job is to lead America.
You know, this battle for the soul of America, democracy prevailed. We, the people, voted. Faith in our institutions held. The integrity of our elections remains intact. And now it's time to turn the page, as we've done throughout our history, to unite.
두통. 오늘 여기까지 하겠습니다.
College results are very clear tonight. Here's the moment when California put Joe Biden over the top.
못하겠어.
I will now announce the tally of the vote for the office of President of the United States. For Joseph R. Biden of Delaware, a Democrat, ayes 55, noes 0.
That's it. Done deal. Just minutes later, though, the current president, in a blatant and frankly kind of pathetic attempt to steal the spotlight, since he has failed at stealing the election, announcing his handpicked Bill Barr will leave the election before Christmas, and releasing a resignation letter so sycophantic that it must have been ghostwritten by Vice President Pence.